Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This week we're doing Beauty and the Beast and we're going to draw the iconic rose. I've slowed this footage right down so I can show you how I've done it and you can kind of see where I've gone with it. But I've done an 8x8 box and then I've put in some markers. On that left and bottom edge they are 3 dots in, but on that top and right edge they are halfway, so they're 4 dots. And then I go round and connect those markers up, keeping my lines really loose and not sharp in any way, rounded, that's the word. I can then go in and add some diagonal lines, a bit like how you would tie shoelaces back and forth, right up until that top, and then that top little triangle is always a swirl for a rose. So that's my base template. I'm now going to go on top of that and flesh out some of the petals for that rose. So I start by going up each one of those diagonal lines that we drew in, and I go up to the edge and then I do a nice big rounded curve around back down again. So from the centre out towards that outside edge and then bring it round to bring it back in again. I do that all the way up until I get to that curve, and then when it's that curve I just do lots and lots of vertical lines to make it look like it's a paper scroll. That's kind of the effect that I'm going for. Keep playing around with it, keep doodling. I would say if you're going to watch this video and doodle too, then just keep pausing and starting, just do a little bit and then press play again. Keep going with it until you're happy with it. So for the stem, I'm definitely going for the curve. I've got quite a bit of ground to cover down at this bottom half of the page, so I'm going to swoop it right down and do a couple of little curves in there, and then I'm going to put some little buds on one side and then some big leaves on the other side. I think penciling in is the best part of this process. Just keep playing around. On the bottom there I've done some little dents and little divots because I just think that gives it a little bit more character. Now that I've sketched it out, I'm going to go in with my Faber Castell Pitt artist pen and just outline it and go along all of the lines that I've used all the way until I've finished the flower. And I had some comments last week about this page. This is my pen test page that I have in the back of all my journals. I just go and swatch every pen I've got so that when it comes to colouring in, I can go and pick all the different colours that I think will work together, get them all ready, and then I know that I'm not going to put pen down and it be a completely off colour. I want the themes to be cohesive, so pick out your colours that you want to start with and then keep to those colours. So I've picked 3 shades of pink, and how I'm sort of approaching this is very haphazard, but the general rule is that anything that's close to that rose that I'm doing at the moment is going to be darker, and then as the rose petals come outwards they're going to get lighter. So I'm attempting, with the use of 3 colours, just to build up each layer, starting with the very lightest and then going in darker. I'm doing exactly the same here with the stem, in that I've put in that really light colour down one side, and I've chose to have the darker colours on the outside, with one side being thicker. So on the left hand side of that stem, it is dark green, but it's much thinner than the right hand side. I'm just trying to make it look as 3D as you possibly can with some kids colouring pens. And because I've got a little bit too much white space for me, that's like a buzzword on my channel, not a fan of white space, I'm going to go in and just add some little petals that look like they're falling because that's the film, and then just add some bubbles. So pink and green is lovely, but I just feel like a nice light blue as well gives it a little bit of an accent. So I've gone in just to fill out that white space, and now I can go and fill in what will be the boxes for next week, which will be my dailies. This spread is one that I've done way back when I first started journaling. So I'm going to go and stick Mrs. Potts and the lovely little Chip character in here. I'm not sure I can talk you through how I drew this. It's really difficult to do. Let me know if Disney tutorials, how to draw Disney characters, is something you would like for me to give it a good go at. I certainly will try my best. I can either get these slown right down, or I can sort of work out a way of how you map it out. But really, I think my top tips, and I say them time and time again, start with the eyes of any character that you're doing. They are very rarely sort of sitting on the same level. So for example, Mrs. Potts' eyes, the left eye is much higher than the right. If you start and try and get that in first and then just map out from there, it tends to come together much better. I do off screen have a photo of the image that I'm drawing. I'm not that great, I can't do it off the top of my head, but I'm going to add in some more bubbles as well, because that kind of links then into the rose on the left hand side. And then because I've got those two doodles, naturally, you know me with a weekly, I have to have a quote. So that big box just underneath Mrs. Potts will be a quote too. Because I've gone quite doodle heavy, I'm going to keep the header boxes for the days quite simple, just a simple banner. And then, yeah, the quote. So I'm sketching this out in pencil first. I'm going for a bit of a Times New Roman font, and I want to do it in pink. Now, previously I used to have a pink fine liner. I don't this time. It ran out and I never replaced it. So I'm having to use the Tombow smaller end of the dual brush pens to map it out. It didn't work out too badly, but it certainly was taxing. So I've gone in, added my tracker and the calendar and all that sort of jazz. This was the spread at the top. This was my spread from 3 years ago, and this one below is the one that I've recreated in my Dingbats. Let me know if you enjoyed this video and if you're going to give this rose a go. I really hope you do. But as always, guys, have a great one and I'll see you soon.